Alright, hello everyone. We're going to start Emily Dickinson today, and I'm actually going to, I think, just give each poem its own little smaller lecture rather than roll it all into one, hour long lecture. I think that'll work better for all of us, especially for you guys. Emily Dickinson's probably the strangest. Let me just close this. Sorry, creature in the American canon, really. She, kind of a wispy little woman. She, lived with her father, I think, almost her whole life. Never marries, becomes maybe a bit of a shut-in. That seems to happen increasingly as she gets older. Seems to almost compulsively write poems and is extremely prolific in her life. But I think she only publishes something like 7 poems while she's alive, and after she dies, they find, I think it was 1,775 poems hidden throughout her home, and all kinds of ways. Most of them, I think, were in this big steamer trunk, but they were also found on little bits of scraps of paper in their sock drawer, and all written on napkins and all kinds of things. So it was quite a capture process, a collection process. I think whoever managed to save all these, and it's to every the rest of our benefit, I guess that they did. Because I think after Walt Whitman, she's probably the other towering figure of poetry in the American canon, and she is in a lot of ways the anti-Whitman, really, and she really is his opposite, where he's just gushing and huge and overflowing, in every possible way. Everything is excess, sort of. It seems like with Whitman, she's sort of small and tiny and almost fragile. It seems like everything's sort of delicate and there's a precision where he had where everything again with him was sort of excess. And again that. There was, let's see, think here. And again, there's been some interesting movies actually in the last few years. I think Apple TV just did a 10-part miniseries on her life. I haven't gotten around to it yet. And I forget one of the girls from the actresses from the Sex and the City, Cynthia Nixon, I think, played her in a film that I think is still for free on Amazon right now. But again, she's very difficult to categorize. She seems to wreak havoc on standard grammar, for example. Loves the M dash, and she does a lot of rhyme schemes. And they're tricky little poems. Her poems, they almost seem like riddles you have to crack. She could be looked at as a poet of nature. A lot of birds. Seems to be comparing herself to a bird oftentimes. She's also very, of the Puritan tradition again, where Whitman would have been so overtly sexual. She was much more prim and proper than that. Was not interested in that at all. She was kind of a proto-modernist, even a proto-postmodernist. You could look at her as. She's, in the sense, there's just such a sort of a self-reference to it, a hyper self-awareness to a lot of her writings. And most of all, I think she is the poet of human consciousness, writing about thinking itself, about what it's like to live inside a human head and have thoughts. And that may be more than anything. Also the poet of death, by the way. A lot of we'll get to that, but there's a lot of death imagery and a lot of poems about death. She doesn't seem to be completely, which actually and Dickinson are not all that morbid, by the way. She's not Sylvia Plath, but anyway, that is a quick, very quick, mini sort of intro to Emily Dickinson, and we will start with the first. Again, her style is sort of elliptic. She had quite a sense of humor that wasn't. That maybe isn't soft enough. She's utterly fresh and original. I cannot think of anyone who is like her, and has also probably been as big an influence, especially over female poets in this country, as about anyone. So, okay, that was the very quick and sort of dirty intro to Emily Dickinson, and the other poem, the individual poems and the lectures on those, and I'll go over them line by line, will be up in a little bit.